How to choose a trusted solar installer in 2025. This is something that we've blogged about, and it's got quite a lot of traction, quite a lot of conversations happened online. So I just thought I'd do a really quick video just to chat through some of the different things that we've found in the industry as consultants working on behalf of clients all over the UK, all over the world now, which is very exciting and very interesting at the same time. And one of the things is the team that's installing it qualified? Is the designer qualified to be designing solar at the level that they're designing? Is the team qualified to work with the AC, work with the DC? Is the team qualified to build the frames? Is the team qualified to build the scaffolding? All those types of things come into play when it comes to discussing commercial and industrial solar with people. We've found that there's quite a lot of not correct benchmarking when somebody's told you that they're an electrician and they're not actually got the right qualifications to work within the industry. That we've had a couple that have said they're qualified to work on batteries, and obviously when you have a look at the installations, no isolations, no labels, there's no plugs and covers and caps. It's all those things that you look at it and go, flip me, how has that been left like that? But as an installer, we from 17 years doing this stuff, we come across it and we're like, flipping out, we can sort that out. So having that kind of independent advice at that stage is really quite useful. One of the things is, are they carrying the right insurance at the time? So having the right insurance means that they've got their public liability, the public indemnity, that they're allowed on your roof, that they can go in the fuse board, that they can work in AC/DC, that they can also operate plant on site. One of the things that we're finding in commercial and industrial solar is that sometimes the guys aren't qualified to be driving the scissor lift, or they're not qualified to be driving the forks. That's something that you need to make sure. Health and safety guys, they're normally on this when we've turned up to massive sites, but when it's a smaller site and when it's a small business, small farm, it's always useful to have those conversations of, come on guys, show me your ticket, show me what you carry, and show me your insurance documents to prove that you're insured to carry out this work on this property. There has been instances recently where panels have blown off roofs, and those types of things are very rare, but it does happen. So it's one of those things that you kind of want to make sure that the insurance is in the right place at the right time. It also one of the things that we've come across in utility scale solar, especially with the diggers and the drivers and some of those guys turning up to say, yeah, we know exactly what we're doing, we can get that in line for you. And those types of conversations are a real must for developers. Definitely need to be having those kind of conversations and making sure that risk doesn't land firmly on their feet. Is the system designed specifically for your site? This is something that we've come across with people assuming that the specific annual yield, which is how much the solar generates, or how much solar can be generated in your area, and if those panels are south facing 35 degrees in the UK, we're great, we're happy, that's going to be absolutely brilliant producing system. But if they said it's south and it's actually a west system, then that's going to affect your payback. And those types of things of having those conversations of, can I have a look at the design, can I see where the calculations have come from, and those types of things are where people need a little bit of help and a little bit of understanding when it comes to consultancy. And we've found ourselves at loggerheads sometimes with installers when they've promised something that cannot be delivered from that site whatsoever. Number 4, one of the things on the list is how long has that business been in business? How long have those guys been fitting solar? It's easy to kind of say you can do it and turn up wearing the right gear, but what's your track record? Is there 20 years? Is there 17 years? Is there 15 years? Is there 5 years? Some of the guys that we started fitting with early years are now all teaching it. So some of that experience has kind of disappeared out of the marketplace. But some of the guys are still in the trenches and still going strong and still delivering incredible projects that we've inspected some systems by other companies that are out of this world, that are absolutely brilliant and really well done all over the country. And just bringing some of that knowledge and wisdom into the industry is quite interesting and exciting at the same time. What products are they supplying? So if they've set it on their designs and in their drawings and in their specification, have they turned up with it? I've had a few instances over the last few years where people have said, you're going to generate this much money off a a solar edge system, and when I've got there it's actually a central inverter system. So kind of trying to cover up those things is one of those things where you're like, flipping heck, I should have picked up on that. Hence why we put it in the blog, and we're trying to tell people about these things that are going off in the industry, and kind of trying to pull the wool over the eyes. So we're kind of making sure that the products are exactly what is supplied, what is in that specification is what is turned up on site, is what has been fitted. This is even more important when it comes to kind of the roofing hooks and the roofing systems, because some clips don't work with some rail, so they've got to be the same kind of make and model. They've got to be designed to fit. Those types of things have got to be all done together. One of the also things is, are you receiving a formal design pack, a layout drawing of the panels on the roof, a layout drawing of what it's going to look like down by the electric unit, by the fuse board, by the incoming mains. You really need to make sure that that is kind of formalized and made so that you're aware as a client exactly what's going off with where is that inverter going. Am I going to be able to access those isolators easy? Is it somewhere where we're putting a window out of the building? Are we moving a door frame in a month's time, and the lads have turned up and installed? There's more than once teams have been installing on projects of mine in the past, and the clients come down the stairs and gone, well, you can't put that there. Or they've come out of boardroom and seen the guys are taking the cables over one building, and they're like, no, you can't go that way because we're building an extension on that in the next 6 months. It's things like that if it's in a formal design pack, then you've actually got somewhere to go if the installer goes awry with it. As well as if you change the plans there, then you've got to make sure that there's a variation in place, and that's been covered, and that's been talked about as well. Another thing is the scaffolding. Has it been accounted for within the pricing of the job, within the project structure? Has the installer had a specific scaffolder come to site and check it, have a look at the site, make sure the van can get through the gates, make sure they can get up the sides of properties and protect the lads from up there. It's one of those things where in two ways: has it practically been assessed, as in bring the professional in, and then has it financially been assessed? Has it come into the calculations? On more than one occasion, when I first started doing solar, I came up against quotes that were really, really low, couldn't beat them. And then in later years, when we've been asked to go back and look at maintenance and look at metering and monitoring, providing those types of solutions for people, we found out that we weren't actually beating on price, but they'd forgotten to put an extra tier of scaffolding in here and there, and those types of hidden costs can knock a project over and cost a lot more in the long run. One of the other things is, can you have some reviews and references? One of the things I used to do when I was on the sales side of things years ago was I'd get the client in the car and I'd take him to the last site that we'd delivered. That makes a massive difference, actually going and seeing something that's been produced and finished and done, and having that face-to-face conversation. If it's early years and they're still dead excited about having had their solar, then they'll tell you the truth. If it's been a few years and things aren't maintained, and you can see that the inverter's covered in rubbish, not been hoovered out, not been kept accessible, those types of things, you can tell when you're inside an installation, and you need to know that the client, the team installing it, have installed it to the best of their ability, and people will give you references on those types of things. And when you turn up to sites that have had solar fitted, people are happy to talk about it quite a lot of the time. They're really quite proud of having solar installed. But Google reviews are great, Trustpilot's great, and if you can get that conversation with the client, which is really, really useful. And a conversation that isn't normally had is what happens afterwards. What happens in the outward going of having that installation fitted? They know the panels are going to be on the roof, they know the inverter is going to be on the wall, but what does the monitoring look like? Who do they call when the monitoring goes down? Having access to those kind of frameworks, and what's the O&M process that's going to be happening here. That's one of the things as independent solar consultants that we've found really, really helpful for people, is actually going through the handover pack with them, sitting down at the end of the job, having a cup of tea and having a good look through, or coffee, and having a good look through the process, policies and procedures, to make sure that they marry up within an organisation that's got multiple sites, It's always very useful to help those types of things out. And then one of the last things, are they compliant? So are they NIC, EIC registered for the UK or equivalent? And NAPIT's one of the good ones on there. MCS if you're domestic or small domestic, small farms. It's anything under 20 kilowatts at the moment in the UK. Anything under that kind of size, we need to be looking for making sure they're REC approved, making sure they're HICE approved, and making sure that they've got that MCS documentation in place. The materials are MCS registered as well. So the inverter panels and manufacturer tend to have a MCS mark on them. And a registration for those. So when it comes to checking that at the end of the installation, without those, then you can't register for your export tariff. Now, there has been a few occasions where panels have been imported to the country, and frames and tubs and mounting systems for utility scale, where that hasn't actually had an MCS accreditation, or it's lost it during the process. So there are a few of those types of things in the industry that make it a bit more of a minefield. So we just thought, because we'd had so many kind of conversations and questions about how to pick those kind of trusted installers, and that kind of what process do we put them through, we've got a pretty tough questionnaire that if you get in contact with us, we'll send it to you, and you can use that to interrogate your installers, because it's an industry that we're finding is growing really fast. Is getting lots of young people into it, which is brilliant. Seeing teams and growing, and seeing companies come out of the woodwork, and some people are actually turning their hand back to solar, and companies that flourished in the early years of solar are still going strong. So it's a brilliant industry over here in the UK, and I hope those little tips and tricks will help you in understand how to choose a trusted solar installer in the UK in 2025. I hope that's added some wisdom and knowledge. If you need any help from us, please get in contact. Email will be in the description below, or DM us, get in contact, and we will try our best to help you on this solar journey.